Hey guys, thanks for stopping in for today's video. So as you can see in front of me, I have an episode 1 Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber, the Phantom Menace hilt, and we're going to be going over some of the accuracy details included on this hilt specifically. And this is a Anakin Starkiller / Dewy hilt. It was on the RPF, I believe, 2 years ago. And it's just a well-rounded, overall great, accurate hilt that, I was going to go with the Saber Z, but I decided to go with this one, and I'm going to be showing some of the details of the accuracy. And so let's get started, and I'm going to explain what you needed to do to the hilt once you received it. It's only a few little things. It's just how it was shipped out. And yeah, so let's go over that. So what you're going to need to do when you receive the hilt is this rivet here, which it's actually not a jewel, it's a rivet, and this brass nut is going to need to be installed. So there's instructions on the RPF on how to do so. And also, if you didn't know, in here, in these bezels, there are actual LEDs inside them, which you have to install, which isn't a big deal. I kind of figured it out myself. Being LEDs, you have the 2 legs on it. You just cut the legs down so it can fit inside and E6000 them into place. And these aluminum bezels here just unscrew with your fingers, so that's no big deal. Now, stepping down from that, you have the hilt shipped with a small style O-ring, and you need to replace it with this more accurate thick O-ring that goes underneath the emitter bezel, I guess you can say. So you can see it protrude out, sticking out, and that's more accurate. So I swapped that. And then coming down here, you have these cubes on the pommel, and they could be a little loose because they're just going on a steel thread, I suppose, that's in place, and they were a little wiggly when I received it, so I just put a dab of E6000 on the rod, push them into place as they should be, and yeah, that's really all that was involved when I got the hilt. Not too bad. Everything else was put together for me. So with that being said, now let's go over some of the accuracy details in this hilt, and we're going to work our way from the top to the bottom. It's just more convenient that way. So, some of this stuff you're not going to be really familiar with. I wasn't familiar with until reading over the RPF forum on the accuracy details. And a lot of the companies these days are more idealized. They're not actually like screen accurate, just for FX. And one thing to take note that we're talking about FX is this is static only. So you cannot get this installed, which I would rather, due to the accuracy. So if you notice here on the plate, it's kind of cocked a little bit and it's at an angle, and that is accurate to the prop. It's actually not idealized and straight. Now, in the kit, they include a straight emitter cap, I guess you can say, where it's even. And on this, it is, like I said, angled, and that's accurate to the prop. And then you have your emitter cap, and this just unscrews. You can do it with your fingers, and there is a bolt that goes through, and you can set the depth for it to be accurate. Accurate positioning on the plate up top. So that's a really good feature. And like I said, it comes with a more idealized straight setup, which you have to take 3 screws out. You have to unscrew this top plate, take 3 screws out, because with that assembly in place, it makes it angled. And then you put the more straight piece in, and yeah, so it's more straight, but I prefer screen accuracy. Now, stepping down from the emitter, so you can see that nice detailing in the shrouded emitter. Okay, so stepping down from that, as you can see here, sorry about the camera. As you can see here, it's actually at a different cut angle than the other side, and that's screen accurate. It's just oblonged and it's not even. Both sides are not even to each other, and that's another screen accuracy detail I realized. As you can see here, it's barely noticeable, but enough to notice the accuracy detail. Okay, and now stepping down from that accuracy detail, the oblonged, uneven angle of the shroud, you have your very accurate knurled red button. Now this is now the one on the hilt isn't a found part, but Anakin Starkiller does have the found part button that he replicated for this. And you can see the knurling on this red button, and it's fantastic compared to the real prop. There's pictures comparing the red button to the actual found red button, and it's just incredibly detailed to match the real found part. And then coming here to the brass thumb screw, I believe, based on research I've been doing, that brass thumb screw is the actual found part that he used on this hilt, because I believe what he said was it was easier to obtain the real found part than it was to do the knurling to get it actually right to the found part. So he decided to source the found part, and then you have your, like I said earlier, you have your rivet inside your brass thumb screw there. And then stepping down, like I said, you have your O-ring that sticks out the bottom. And then coming down here, there's actually, as you can see here, there is a aluminum rod that goes through the hilt. And this here is Delrin, as well as the top piece on the emitter. I guess you can call that emitter, shroud, I suppose. So this right here is actually Delrin. And if you want to get technical, Anakin Starkiller recommends painting this Delrin. I forget the paint code for that. I have it in my notes on my phone, but it's more of a gloss on the screen prop instead of a matte. So if you want to get picky, you have to disassemble the whole hilt, but you can paint the parts to match the glossiness of the actual prop. I'm going to one day, but for now I'm just going to keep it as it is because I have quite a few projects going on right now, so it would just kind of mess up my lineup. And then coming down here, you obviously have your cover tech, your traditional cover tech, like the prop. And then coming down here to the pommel. If you notice, the pommel cubes actually are unequal and they have separate distancing from each other. The positioning of them are not even, and they're spaced according to the prop, which I found that awesome. There's so much detail was involved in this kit and hilt. It's insane, and that's why I couldn't pass it up. Luckily, I found it secondhand on the RPF, and it was just in the box. I had to do the accuracy details myself, the O-ring, the rivet, and the LEDs in the bezels, and as well as this, the top emitter was done already, so I didn't have to mess with that, which was cool. But to do the O-ring, you have to take the whole shroud off, and these just unscrew, and there's an O-ring behind this red button that gives it the accurate gap where it needs to be. And then you take these two screws or thumb screws out, you unscrew all your bezels. Actually, the bezels can be stayed in place. They don't have to come out because they just screw into there. But you remove this, the 3 bolts, and this whole thing slides up, and then you just slide your O-ring in place. So it's not too bad of a job to do, I don't think. Now going over the hilt, you would think it's very lightweight, just because I've held a few of these hilts in my hands, and the more like the KR and the Core Banth versions of these and the Ultimate Works. This is just on a whole new level, guys. I mean, the weight of it, this thing is just got some nice heft to it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I can really go over on the hilt. What I can do for you is I can just not talk and do a nice panning of the overall details of this hilt for you guys. Alrighty, well, I hope you enjoyed that. So, well, like I said, guys, I really appreciate you stopping in today's video. It's been a little bit since I uploaded. I just want to stay consistent with my uploads, give you guys some good content. And stay tuned, I got some projects lined up in the works I'll be displaying once finished. Now, I was debating on doing, some videos on like unboxing and process of building the props. But at the end of the day, I'm just going to focus this channel on the finished props, just because you can do so many little videos of, okay, let me unbox it. Okay, let me paint one thing. Oh, let me do an update video. It's just, for me, I feel like it's just kind of a waste of time. And you guys more or less just want to see the finished product. So I'll take my time and do the props as I intend to. That way I can do some good content for you guys. I usually post some updates on projects going on here and there, and stuff I receive, so be sure to check that out, Strike Back Props on Instagram. And I appreciate you guys stopping in, and take care.